Sure, why not?
I'm dressed like a bum here.
Wait a minute. What's the autism speak? Are you a big participant?
We support that. Yep, we do.
Good for you.
We do. And are you listening to me now?
Yeah.
Want me to sit down?
No, I want you to keep doing whatever you're doing. Just tell me what's going on with you.
Well, my wife and I, Therese, are good friends with Suzanne and Bob Wright.
Yep.
And hi. And about 5 or 6 years ago, when no one hardly at that time knew a lot about it, there was an organization and people did some things and so on. But it was largely a disease that was under the counter somewhere in the back of people's minds. And today, within 5 years, on a global scale, they have offered hope to families. And we've seen some of them speak here in Nantucket. And they've set up a center here at the school and a resource center and treatment center, where if you hear what a mother does with her child to just to get through a day. Now my wife and I have a young child, and thank God he's healthy, but to go through a day where almost every function has to be wholly or partially assisted by the parent, it almost leaves you no time for yourself or to do your work or to do the kinds of things you need to do, depending on the degree of severity of the disease. And I think when those people were struggling like that, before Suzanne and Bob got involved, there wasn't a lot of hope or a lot of empathy that you could lean on, even emotionally, and say, gee, I know they're working hard, they're raising now tens of millions of dollars, there's great research going on at MIT and other scientific institutions, but there's a lot of camaraderie and a lot of people we can cry, whose shoulder we can cry on. None of that existed. So they put that all together now, and I think while the disease is still difficult and there's not a cure there, the idea that you're not isolated and alone, I think helps terrific. It's just wonderful. Maybe the way cancer was thought of 100 years ago, or going to a psychiatrist 100 years ago was a no-no, it was a taboo. And so I think, the culture's gotten over that.
And every day we learn more and more about autism, don't we?
Yeah.
But we still haven't figured out totally how it's contracted.
The focus now is to diagnose it as early as possible. So that awareness, more than emotional support, that awareness has helped them a great deal in terms of treatment. And so that if they spot it early, they can treat it early, and all the evidence is that it helps tremendously. So whereas a parent might say, well, gee, the child just seems a little bit out of kilter today or this week, or doesn't seem to be as interested as they were in their toys, or whatever it might be. I don't know it all that well. But now I think that the awareness of people like jump on it, and you go to a resource or a doctor or somebody get help right away. And I think that in the long run, just like all diseases, they say the same thing about almost every disease, heart disease, cancer, catch it early, Right. And so that's been a miracle, I think. Right. And on a global basis, they've traveled now around the world. They're setting up centers all over the world, and raised tens of millions. And have a great functioning board. So, yeah. So that's the question, right? Yeah. So Therese and I, we did the walk, and we supported as much as we can.
Good.
And they a lot of money is contributed and left here in Nantucket to help the people here who need it.
That's great. So now it looks like you're packing up. You're heading out?
Yeah. 30 years of packing stuff and going back and forth. You leave a lot. There's always stuff to pack up. Always stuff to go. And calling
back
UPS.
in New York, right?
Live in New York, in Manhattan, and on the Upper East Side.
Yep.
And enjoy both of these.
You don't do a restaurant there, though.
No, I don't. No, I'm a headhunter there.
Oh, you are?
I work executive recruiter.
Oh, okay.
Have my own little firm.
Oh, very good.
And going through these.
Do you do that while you're here too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of that is done with fax and phone and email, and then somebody has to interview.
Who do you headhunt for? I mean, what kind of positions?
Corporations, Wall Street.
Bigger paycheck type people?
I hope so. Yeah. Well, in these day and age, nobody knows what that is
taking a cut,
anymore.
huh?
I know. And I think the country's going through a very, very difficult time.
Yep. It is.
And I don't know that we're ever going to see those halcyon days of roaring economics where properties go up 10 and 15%, and people were, you know, easily making millions of dollars. I think the competition we're going to face now from Asia and other regions is going to be very difficult. All these jobs, the real problem I think is that we're not creating jobs. And we're supposed to get a lot of the green jobs that have come with the new wave of thought about the environment, and with the election of President Obama. Very hopeful. But I read in the Times last week that Germany and China are leading in the production of these solar panels.
Oh, yeah.
And they're going to do it at a less expensive, I mean, so...
They've been at it for years.
Are those the jobs Americans were supposed to get? Didn't we get on top of that? I mean, the technology is ours. I don't know. Did you see the windmill out at Bartlett Farm? It's not GE. Right. I think it's made there, I think in Norway or something.
Yeah, the Scandinavians, man.
I mean, well, no, I mean, it's wonderful. Good, you know, good for them. But right. I mean, that's our.
We need to get the ball
GE should have donated one out there.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So anyway,
well, you should have talked to Bob Wright.
Well, yeah, right.
He's got some connection.
He should be running that company.
There you go.
But right now, you know, the recovery, I suppose, will do better than things. But I'm not sure what's going to happen in the long run if you don't create jobs for the ordinary person, the young man or woman that work hard, get out of high school, don't want to go to college for whatever reason. Right. That's fine, and have a job, raise a family, have a job so that the bank will give you a mortgage. We all grew up with that. Yeah. Because the bank relied on the mortgage, relied on the factory being there. Nobody ever defaulted. That was tremendous. That's gone. That young man or woman now, and we have them here in the kitchen, they work really hard. And if somebody would lead and inspire these young people, I think we could compete for solar and for solar technology and manufacturing, you know, those kinds of products. But nobody really seems to garner that group. They always seem to be talking to, you know, the middle class or the upper middle class, or, you know, bigger business or whatever. Right. But those people have to be helped. And I don't know where they're going to work. They can get a job at Walmart, but they can't get a mortgage from a bank working at Walmart. Right. They get a job at Burger King. And that doesn't have the kind of career path that they need. Yep, so I'm just not clear on it. I mean, Germany is an advanced country, high standard of living, in some cases higher than the United States. And they have workers that are producing products. Yeah, but they have a lot of socialism there too, and that's a bad word here. We don't, they've been looking at it for a long period of time. But all I'm saying, you know, is that socialism notwithstanding, they're producing a quality product. I mean, people tell me, and that one guy from General Motors during that whole mess last spring said a lot of the people he worked with bought foreign cars. GM workers employed by General Motors and other bought foreign cars. And supposedly you can't get in the parking lot with a foreign car, but a lot of families had 2 cars. So I don't know what that says about America, you know? We're a country of entrepreneurs, and we've got good foresight. We'll find markets as long as it's not too restricted, and you know, we've got to keep it. I hope you're right, but everybody forgot that the reason people in Nantucket or California or New York did well is because the base level guy we were talking about, the young man or woman who needs a good job, raises family, they buy cars and refrigerators and pay their taxes and use public schools. We're talking now about 10, maybe 80, 90 millions of people who are not going to have the kind of future that we had or our parents had. That's a good point. But listen, I'm about to run out of tape. I got to tell you one thing. Do you realize how good your spaghetti sauce is? You like it? Oh my! I do. There's a huge buzz around the island about it. We're talking to people about going a broader marketing. So far, we just marketed it here and a little bit in upstate New York. But we sold a lot in a short period of time. Thank you very much. Hey, you got it, buddy. Great to see you. It's good to see you, Don. Have a good day, Gino. Thanks, buddy. Ciao.